We're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Movie Phone. Please enter the Us older people might remember that. Nazi ever used Movie Phone? You ever seen the Seinfeld episode where Kramer pretends he's Movie Phone?
Yes, that I have seen multiple times.
Good episode.
Yeah.
We've got NVIDIA earnings tonight. That should be very exciting. Hey, there's Cabana. Cabana just shows up like 3 minutes late every time now, and depends on me to do the introductions. What is this shit? I thought you were hosting, Cabana.
Did you knock it out of the park?
He's training you.
I'm doing so well. I haven't even gotten anybody's names yet. I used to do this professionally. I told Bryce earlier today, we're writing a Tesla book, the ultimate Tesla book. And he was like, hey, I'm going to make fun of you right here in this way. And I'm like, always happy to self-deprecate. That was my gig on TV. That was my co-anchors spent most of the time trying to convince the world that they're smart. I try to just sort of embrace my stupidity. So at any rate, Cabana, can you introduce everybody? Or I will. I'm happy to. Whatever you want, man.
Oh, I can. I'll deem it as a challenge since I'm a little under the weather, but in a different voice. We have right above me. Don't fall. Don't free fall, Dan. But the CEO of Free Fall Aerospace, Mr. Dan Geraci. How you doing?
Not too bad. Tom Petty sent his greetings.
Free fall. Cody, please, can you break out the guitar?
Right there. You don't want me to do that.
Oh, okay.
No, we don't want to go there.
And right over here, Mr. Sanatsi, the humblest man in all of space and crypto. What else, Cody? What else would you?
Well, he literally is the former chief scientist of one of the most technologically advanced companies in the world.
But we would never know.
Yeah, Sanatsi comes around here and he's like, nah, I'm just going to play it down a little bit.
That's right. Going to talk down AI and, smack that down a bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
And Cody Willard, CEO, or what are you of Trading with Cody? Founder. How's that? Founder of
Publisher.
TradingWithCody.com.
Publisher. Editor. And then I run a hedge fund for my day job.
Oh, yeah, that too. And author, of space
number one
books, crypto books, Tesla books.
Font of knowledge, I believe.
I literally had a #1 bestseller on Amazon called Everything You Need to Know About Investing. And it was a #1 bestseller in its category for about a month back in 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I don't know.
Yeah. There you go. And last but not least,
the
American badass, Mr. Joe Anderson. How you doing?
Talk about timing.
Snuck in for the last intro.
Exit, entry stage left. Here he comes.
So what's going on?
I was just about to say when you so graciously bothered to hop on the call, my man's sick. I'm just kidding you, Cabana. I won't give you a hard time while you have a virus.
It's a virtual meeting. We don't care if he's sick.
Well, I don't need a virus on my computer either, though. I don't need a virtual virus.
What wasn't there a time when people were on Zoom calls and company employees were getting mad when the people weren't wearing masks on their calls sitting in their own living room? No, seriously. Yeah, it was crazy.
They were passing judgment on people's own personal environment. Like
you had to signal properly.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but about a year and a half ago, maybe, we were on a Zoom call for one of these SKTLs volunteer calls, and we were just letting anybody who wanted to hop on in the call, and one of the guys hijacked the call. Were you there, Dan?
Oh,
Are you still scarred? Are you guys scarred from that? Yeah, there was some rather, not just X-rated, but gross.
No, this is beyond. This is
X-rated stuff. Anyway, I'm still scarred myself about
it. Thank you for
I wish I had a
flashback. Yeah, thank you for the flashback. I appreciate it.
PTSD over there. Dan's probably going to hop off the call now and go lay down. At any rate, we got NVIDIA tonight, Cabana. NVIDIA. Have you guys heard of NVIDIA? I saw a tweet yesterday. It said, NVIDIA's earnings call tonight is the most important day of your life. It's more important than the day your ungrateful children were born, more important than the day you got married. It's the most important day of your life.
So I'm going to guess, with all of that said, you're going to say that it'll trade within $5 of its closing price tomorrow.
Within 5%. I even that I think is a pretty fair range. I give it $30 up or down tomorrow. All the guys who bought calls, all the guys who bought puts, going to make no money on it. The market does not reward that stuff typically. It would have to be the greatest report ever to really go up 10%, and it'll have to be the worst report ever to go down 10. Well, bad report could really it could come unglued, but I don't think it will be. It'll be a good.
So the implied move was like $70 or something, wasn't it?
What's that?
So the implied move was like $70 or something crazy. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. I'll take the half of that. I shorted a put today. If it goes down like
a put.
Okay. A put. Yeah. Yeah. We own in the hedge fund. We own several hundred shares. In my personal account, I own quite a few too, because as Cabana knows, my cost basis is $8 on NVIDIA in my personal account. Yeah.
Mine's not that low, but I have some forever shares that I have not parted with from way back. Years ago.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, we'll probably at some point be like, NVIDIA's out, and we'll talk about that when it happens. But in the meantime, Sanatsi, are you trying to get our attention?
Yeah. So the second link that I posted in our Slack channel, so from deep learning, there is actually news on NVIDIA's competition. So it's worth to look at the second link that I sent on deep learning.
While we're on the topic, well, look, on the one hand, it's clear that when you're able to charge $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 for each chip that you're selling, the H100, A100s, the most advanced chips that NVIDIA has, it going for that kind of a price tag. And then you can listen to Microsoft, Meta, every company who's using Tesla. They're literally trying to buy every one of those chips they can get their hands on. So the money is moving there. But on the flip side of that, anytime there's that kind of gross margins in a business like NVIDIA is getting right now, it invites competition. And as Bryce and I wrote in a book a couple of months ago, the Great Semiconductor Shift book, we talk about the fact that Microsoft was at Intel's Foundry Day today, announced the CEO is there announcing that they're going to be using Intel to make their most advanced AI chips at Microsoft. So meanwhile, Microsoft is still buying billions of dollars of NVIDIA chips every time they get a chance to, but they would prefer to make their own at a much lower price tag. So it's going to happen. Got to have that competition. Just natural part of capitalism, correct, Dan?
Very much so.
Meanwhile, we've got Lunar.
Plan for that. How do they plan for that? That they know that at some point potentially that their business is going to start, coming down, like Stanley will at some point when
Stanley and NVIDIA. That's a hell of an analogy. Mugs. Look. I don't know that you can really plan for it, because you're hoping that your next, we're at the A100, it's gone to the H100, so next we'll go to the P100 and then a X100 and then a Z100, and NVIDIA hopes that, number one, their chips themselves will continue advancing fast enough that it'll be better than anybody else's even in-house designed proprietary chip. Number two, they hope that their CUDA software, which is what you use to program those AI chips to machine learn and do the other things. AMD doesn't have that, and Microsoft is trying to build their own. Google has their own software for their TPC. Is that what it's called? Oh, that's a golf thing. Anyway, Bryce,
Yes, for the Tournament Players Club. Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
What's Google's ingrown chip called? TPU. Tensor Processing Unit. The man over there knows it all.
That's right.
Yeah. I can't keep my own name straight. I call my daughter Amaris and I call my other daughter Lincoln, and neither name is ever right. Anyway, yeah, they're going to do it. It is a personal problem. I got plenty of those, Dan.
Hey, I've got a few extras if you want some.
No, keep
I'm
them.
trying to get rid of
Keep
some.
your personal problems to yourself,
I
man.
was thinking of gifting them. So
No. If you ever need to like unload and just emotionally discharge a
thank
little
you.
bit, I'm happy
Thank
to be there for you. But I don't actually want your problem.
I appreciate that.
Let's talk about Intuitive.
Speaking of no problems, that's right. Speaking of Lunar,
Great
LUNR,
segue.
in lunar orbit as of 10:30 or so this morning, Eastern time, I guess, or whatever time zone. But that was a major move because it put them at about 60 miles, 90 kilometers above the lunar surface, which for those who remember the old Apollo days, 60 miles was the lunar orbit, 60 miles above the surface. So that's where they are now for a 5:40 something p.m. tomorrow Eastern time attempted landing.
Is that AM or PM?
PM. Okay. This burn that they did yesterday, or the day before, the 19th, gave them the confidence now that they will be able, that burn will go as planned for a soft landing, because it's that same engine that has to get fired for descent. So
they were planning to do 3 tests of it, but after the second test, they decided it was good to go. Is that correct?
Yeah. And the management of Intuitive Machines is all former Johnson Space Center NASA management, so not their first rodeo, and things are working as planned. So we've been talking to the team there pretty much daily, and still waiting for them to start breathing, but that should be tomorrow afternoon at some point. Very exciting time for the industry, for space investors, for space stocks, because Lunar is a publicly traded company. So and one of the few SPACs that I've actually lived to talk about it, and I think will deliver big time for investors if they stick this landing. There's so much behind this for them and for other companies, but they've got plans for another 3 landings this year if they can pull it off. We'll see how many they can do, but there's a lot of experiments on this mission. There's a lot of people's hardware. There's a lot of hopes and dreams going with this. This is a big one.
It's amazing. For the record, when we're speaking about the publicly traded aspect of Intuitive Machines, I think the last 2 or 3 weeks on these calls, I've mentioned that I bought Lunar in anticipation of this working out. And we started buying Intuitive. At the time, it was a $300 million market cap, about $250 million when we actually built our position. About $2.54 was our cost basis, and it hit $13 today.
That's crazy. I mean, that's a double from a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah. And look, and I fully expect to sell the news happening, and that's basically what happened today. It got in lunar orbit, and the stock went from 13 to 8. So, I mean, I think the thing could be back at 5 or 6 in a week or 2, but I plan to hold. I've sold 2/3, 3/4 of my position, and I'll hold the rest of it for a while, at least a year or 2.
Well, something investors should really, really pay attention to, and I would argue that this is not something that's been seen in most people's recent market memory, where you have a stock, a publicly traded company that rightly or wrongly will end up as the proxy for publicly traded space companies. Because how many ways can you play space as an investor, right? Gee, who's going to be the proxy? Well, this will be the shiny new one. Yeah. Frankly, they stick the landing, and it's going to be like, well, see, you can't buy SpaceX, as a public, securities investor. How can I participate in the space economy? That's going to be Lunar for a lot of people for some time, especially with successful landings. They are going to be a proxy for a lot of people. So
It
be aware of that.
underscores-
It's not a pure play. It's a proxy play.
and it underscores the tininess, smallness, how small space companies are still, because the proxy for the publicly traded proxy for space stocks is $1 billion market cap right now. That's what Lunar's market cap, 800 million if it's at 8, wherever it closed, 8 to 100 million to $1 billion. Let's call it $1 billion. Rocket Lab's only 3 billion. SpaceX is worth more than Boeing. It's $150 billion market cap.
Yeah, well, after they fired the head of the 737 division today, I'm sure their stock might
Actually, that
a little
would
bit
be
above.
good news. Yeah, I really do think when the CEO leaves Boeing, the stock goes up 10 to 20% the next day.
Yeah,
Maybe 5 to 10%, but it'll pop.
You know, this notion of a proxy for publicly traded space, I think more importantly, Intuitive Machines does stuff. They bring stuff to places, they put things in place, they're going to be doing things. They're not like a launch company that just makes rockets and launches them and then goes on to the next customer. Intuitive Machines is a in-space business. They're going to be performing a lot of functions. They're going to be prospecting for lunar resources. They're going to have a lunar communications utility company in place. And that's how you have to think of it. There are going to be a handful of utility companies in cislunar space. They will be one of them. So they're a utility company play. They're a mining prospecting company play. They are a launch and delivery play for landers. They're going to be an exploration play because they have their little hoppers. They're going to be jumping around the moon from their main landers doing other things. So they are an in-space company play versus what I would consider a very two-dimensional play, like a launcher.
Yeah. You know, the other thing that's interesting about they're landing in the South Pole. And the main reason why, as you said last week, Dan, is water. There's there's ice down there on the South Pole of the moon, which is, I just find it fascinating. I was watching, I don't know, some Netflix show the other day, and it was, 1700s, and these people were trying to figure out where they're going to live, and they needed water. That was one of the primary decisions. Like,
follow the water.
Here's some creek. Let's live here. And it's amazing. 250 years have gone by since those people homesteaded a creek, and we're going to homestead some ice on the moon. And the only reason that we're picking that location is why? Because human beings are 95% water, and we still need our water.
Well, keep in mind that, with everybody going to the South Pole and to the South Pole of Mars, it's the same thing. Yeah, it is going to be about the water. But understand that when we were all in school, and I would argue that much younger people were still in school, water on the moon was science fiction. Okay, like water on the moon, no way. I mean, water on Mars was pushing it. And that's a legit planet that had a lot of evidence of flows of some type. But yeah, we're finding water's pretty much, we can find it in every shadowy, cold, dark place in the solar system at some point. So yeah, this could be a page turner day tomorrow for the industry. I'd like to think it is, and open a new chapter. We haven't been on the moon in 50 years. That's just disgraceful for this
Dan,
country.
that's assuming we've been on the moon at all.
Oh, come on now. Bryce is in the corner laughing again.
I had to say it just for Bryce. Just for Bryce. NVIDIA is out. The stock is up. No, it's down. Down. No, it's up. No, it's down. Down. Up. Buy. No, sell. Buy, sell. Go. I'm not even joking. Up, down, up. It is now down.
The most common injury. The most common injury suffered by investors, whiplash. So it's and if you're a hedge fund manager, it's whiplash on steroids. So
yeah, yes, but no. You got to be cool. I tell my daughter Lincoln. I tell them both all the time. Lincoln actually knows what I'm saying. The two most important words in life, two most important words in business, two most important words for an investor: be cool. Be cool, man. Don't freak out. Don't panic. Don't get greedy. Just be cool. Like Dan Geraci and Cabana. Like Cabana's like the coolest guy around.
Yeah,
just
he
be
is.
Cabana. Hey, we got an American badass on our call. Like, just be an American badass. Nazi, of course, the most humble guy in the world. I can't even tell him he's like cool because he's like
He's beyond cool. Nazi's beyond cool. He's beyond
cold.
He's
Cold-hearted.
cryogenic. He's cryogenic.
That's funny.
That's right.
Nazi, I will see Daniel next week, and I will sit with him and make sure we get the mining, the printing of the tokens done.
Okay.
We'll get her done next week. I think he's, you know, Dan works for the guy that works for the one of top 2 or 3 leading artificial intelligence companies on the planet, and he heads up their most advanced artificial intelligence project. I assume he's a little busy right now, but we're having. Are we lunch or breakfast with Dan next week? I think lunch. We're having breakfast. Breakfast next week with Dan. Daniel. There's Dan Geraci and Daniel Ing. Daniel will be next week.
When does the Trading with Cody tour come to DC?
Oh, Cabana, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
In fact, I went to Bryce. I went years ago when I was just dating Bryce's aunt. We all went to Washington, D.C., and I ran into Paul Volcker, and then I ran into Sheila Bard, and I did not see you there, Cabana.
Didn't have the invite like you did with New York, just saying. So.
Yeah, I probably did not. I could have invited everybody at that point. Yes, Dan.
Here's a fun fact for you, and I don't know if I ever mentioned this before on here or not, but you'll notice, and a lot of people comment on this when they see the Intuitive Machines lander and they see Columbia Sportswear as a major sponsor. And there's a reason why. And it's not because Columbia Sportswear wants to make, lunar jogging shorts or something anytime soon, but that foil-like material and that whole side of all of the radiation shielding material on the Intuitive Machine spacecraft is made by Columbia Sportswear.
Oh.
Columbia Sportswear research and development budget, as one executive at Intuitive Machines joked, is bigger than the Intuitive Machines entire corporate budget. But they've developed radiation shielding apparel for mountain climbers, for other types of use where it could be subject to radiation or intense let's just leave it at radiation. They have some other stuff they're doing with it that he said was for the Defense Department, but the radiation shielding is Columbia, and that's why they're there, is because they're working on a lot of these materials, advanced materials, for apparel. So that's why it's Columbia. They actually make radiation material that's on that spacecraft.
Is Columbia publicly traded? I don't know. If they are, that should be our space proxy, Columbia.
Because there's materials, they're going to be, obviously you can, with a microscope, you can find the contribution to earnings, but at some point it's going to be a material, no pun intended, material impact as they. All
right. Well, for the record, NVIDIA is now up, not down, but it's up like 1% after hours.
We'll check back in 2 minutes.
Boring.
Just leave all those limit up orders in, and you'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
No, I got a sell order to sell 100 shares at $6.99. If it takes it there. Anyway, what else? Anything else, Cabana? We got crypto news. We want to talk crypto.
Nazi's got something.
I was just going to mention the European satellite. I also posted the link that was sent to space like 30 years ago. Now is coming back on Earth. I think it's the second link that I posted, ERS-2. So I thought that was interesting.
So it's gonna crash over Spain, right? It's gonna come in over Western Europe or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Yeah. Well, I'm glad it's planning to land where it came from.
One
I
other
they
thing,
also said that. Oh, go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I also heard that certain pieces might be durable enough or not burn up in the atmosphere that they may actually make it to Earth. So heads up or down.
I
one
would
of
just
Go
love
ahead.
to see the bottom of the ocean and see how much space hardware is laying on the bottom of the ocean. I would love to, that show Drain the Oceans. It's a really cool show, actually, on the History Channel, I think it is, where they drain the oceans to show you all the stuff that's laying there. I'd love to see that for space hardware laying in the Pacific Ocean. Anyway, sorry.
That would be cool.
Yeah, one other thing, this Discord channel, because I'm also posting things there and checking to see what people actually post in the Discord our channel. So one person is complaining about SKTLs.com being reported as like not safe by Chrome, and I went and tested it with Chrome and Brave, because I use Brave as well, and I don't really see any warnings as far as like not being safe and things like that. I don't know what's happening with these people. So if you experience any basically problems, any warnings, I guess, from any of the browsers that you use, post it in our Slack channel, so we'll have to deal with it. Okay.
Got it. And we've lost Cody just as his sell order filled at $699 with NVIDIA over $700. Cody left us, I guess, to celebrate with Bryce. I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
his NVIDIA card stopped working, apparently. I think.
Yes.
the
The one put is not doing so well right now.
Yeah.
Or did he buy or sell the put? Actually,
He shorted the put.
He said he
You have to wrap your head around shorting a put. There's
okay, so yeah, he's doing just fine then. So.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Cody, congrats. Dan, Joe.
All right.
We might not see you next week because I think Cody has that thing in New York. So maybe they'll do.
That's right.
We'll have to check the Slack room, but
okay,
we'll see.
Yeah, he does have his New Yorkie thing. Huh?
I believe that is Wednesday. So
okay, good.
Take care.
All right, take care, everybody.
Bye.
All right,
guys.
Good seeing you. Be safe.